Welcome to Vahrenberg Implement informational series video, and today we're going to talk about the basics of oils. A lot of people think oil is oil, and that is totally incorrect. AGCO is the parent company of Massey Ferguson. AGCO Parts is the official parts of Massey Ferguson and part of that AGCO family of brands. You will notice that AGCO has their own oils. One of the things about the reason AGCO does their own oils, they know your tractor better than anybody else. Not all oils are created equal, and different applications require different specifications and the way those oils are made. Cars, boats, over-the-road trucks, construction equipment, and tractors are all used differently, and how the engines are used differently, and the hydraulics and the other components in it. And who knows your equipment better than AGCO? I mean, the same engineers that design the tractor are the ones that come up with the specifications and how the oils are engineered to fit your needs and your equipment needs most. This segment on oils is going to take quite a bit of time. There's a lot to talk about in oils. First thing we need to start off with is our base oil. That is the foundation of any good oil, kind of like the foundation in your house. AGCO uses a refinement method that pretty much gets that oil perfectly clear. This base oil, first off, there's different types of base oils. One of the ones is different grades of it. Pennsylvania grade crude is what AGCO uses to start off their base oil. That is a higher viscosity oil. It has less chance of thermal breakdown compared to, like, the Middle Eastern crudes are a lot thinner compared to the American crudes, which are a lot thicker oils. That's just basic barrels of oil. That's why you see, like, in the futures exchange, there's different types of oil. Well, Pennsylvania grade crude is was where they start with. That is a higher viscosity oil. It's better for engine and hydraulic and your oil needs than taking a cheaper crude and adding additives to it to create an oil that may work. What AGCO starts is the highest grade crude base oil, and then the refinement methods. There's two types of refinement methods. The original refinement method was to use solvents and paraffins to break down the different oil products out of a barrel of oil. The lighter crudes are better for gas production, whereas the heavier crudes are better for your oils, your greases, those type of things. So once we start breaking that oil down, what AGCO does is uses what they call hydrocracking. That's basically where pressure and that type of stuff is used to break down the oils into the different thicknesses and grades and weights of oil and the different products. This chart here shows some of the refinement differences. You can see the base crude oil. Through the conventional solvent refining process, you put atmospheric and vacuum distillation with solvents to extract. You get the lube fracking and you use a solvent to wash it. It's going to provide a darker base oil like we discussed. In the hydro treating process, you use the vacuum for distillation. You're doing hydrogen and gas oils with the hydrocrackers, and then high pressure breaks those products down to get a higher base oil. That's the difference in the two different methods. When you use that method, it comes out more water clear. You can see that is a very clear oil there. The base oil starts out cleaner. So when you see your oils, you'll see that they're a lot more translucent and you can look through a lot of them. Now, colors of oil doesn't mean anything because there's dyes added to oils to distinguish different characteristics, distinguish different types of oil, like automatic transmission fluid. Don't have any out here, but automatic transmission fluid has that red color to it. That is just dye. That is not anything done with the refinement method. that is an identifier for that type of oil. But once you start with your base oil, the oil can only basically add a 25% additive package. 25% of what's in this jug can only be additives. The rest of it has to be built with types of oil. Petroleum, semi-synthetic, synthetic oils, it's all the same. And we'll get into those technical information in a little bit. But basically we start with a very high grade of crude. We refine it with the most expensive method, the hydro cracking process that makes this a 99.9% pure oil product. Whereas the old method of solvents and paraffins, you have a lot of those waxes left over, so it's not pure. It doesn't clean the base oil as clear, so you're starting out with the product, and that's typically a different group crude oil. So we start with the perfectly clear oil, and then we get into the additive packages. AGCO has chosen an additive package company that has over 1 trillion hours of documented testing. There's other companies that sell additives very similar. They're cheaper price, but they don't test. Would you want your oil to be tested, the additives to be tested, or not tested? It costs more to test. I mean, they burn 1 trillion hours of tests. Think about all that fuel that it costs. You know, that's a lot of fuel costs just to run an engine to test the oils and that type of stuff. And it's not cheap. So, higher quality base oils, superior additive packages. Now, the additive package that AGCO uses is a proprietary additive package. It's one that the AGCO engineers have decided that works best for the case that oil is going into. Engine oils into engines, hydraulic oils into hydraulics. I mean, we've got a lot of different products based on climate, based on product use and product needs, and actually within the tractor where it's at. For example, we have our 821XL Permatran oil. We've also got an extended life 821XL Plus. This is designed for that high-tech, high-performance CVT transmission, the Fendt CVT. This is the oil for that CVT. Whereas this oil here works in the other transmissions, works in the hydraulic systems and all that stuff. So AGCO has two different requirements based on where that product is being used within that vehicle. Now once you get the base oil and the additive package, that is pretty much where it all comes together. Now there's different ways to blend that oil. One of the methods is just like your mom used to make a cake. They pour all the ingredients in, put it in a mixer and blend it around. How well do you think that evenly disperses the additives within the oil? I'm going to show you some examples of what happens when oil falls out, those additives fall out. Now one of the things I want to bring you over here, we've actually had 2 buckets of oil that have come in here, or we found, or we got. One is the world famous yellow bucket hydraulic fluid. And we were talking about oils out of suspension. Let's just take a look in there. Ooh, look at that. Look at that right there. See that stuff, that black? You know what that is? That's your additives falling out. You can see them running down there a little bit. There's the oil down here, and you can see those additives have fallen out of suspension. Now there is a few specks of dirt and stuff in there because we've shown a lot of people this stuff. Here's a well-known manufacturer, and look at that. Look what happens there. Look around that edge. You know what that is? That's the additives. Look, and it's a darker oil. They're using a paraffin-based refinement method, solvents and paraffin. They're also using batch blending versus pressure blending. The method that AGCO uses is they warm the oil, they inject the additive package as it flows through a series of pipes so that that additive package is distributed equally amongst the whole product, and it becomes more homogeneous. It's kind of like milk, like a farmer milks a cow, and you got different layers because of different grades of milk. You got the cream, you got the milk, you got higher fat, lower fats. That's what we're talking about. The same thing happens in oils. You want it all blended together where it's homogenized, where you don't have heavier creams and cottage cheese and lumps and that type of stuff, or the butter. You want a good, consistent quality oil that's the same thickness from the start to the finish. You don't want any changes in there, because that's not good for equipment. Changes ain't good for real small oil ports and that stuff that are feeding your engine bearings and stuff like that. You need a good, consistent oil that properly lubricates all the time. Not part of the time, all the time. And that's one of the things, when you start getting into additives, man, there is a wide variety of things that can be done. If you use a cheaper oil, one of the things they do is they put viscosity improvers. Typically that's tar. If you use a higher grade quality crude, you don't have to add tar to your oil to make it a higher viscosity to resist that thermal breakdown. There's antioxidants that neutralizes acids. If you're looking at oil specs and you see total base number, that total base number is the neutralizing capability of that oil to neutralize acids. There's some companies that say, man, you need a super high TBN. Well, through engine testing and stuff and change intervals, total base number, you're going to use that up. That TBN, you're going to use it up through that oil's life. If you have any left at the end of that at that normal change interval, your TBN, your neutralizing capability of your oil is fine. If you have a 10, you bought an oil that was overbuilt with a with the additive package had added too much neutralizing capabilities, but they're trying to sell you on it. That's what they sold the trucking industry, that you needed a high TBN when they really didn't. And that brings it up that company was selling on one spec only. You need to buy a complete oil that protects in all cases, all situations, and all throughout that component. And that's what the AGCO design products do, is they design oils to work in the agricultural application and do it very well. They know your tractor better and how that engine is going to be used and how it's going to perform better than anybody else. They designed it. So there's other additives like detergents. One of the things that AGCO, and if you go back, the old Alice Chalmers company has always been known for, is a very high detergent oil. There's mechanics that they can open an engine and they pretty much can tell you what type of oil was used. You look in our shop and they go to repair an engine, do an engine overhaul. They can tell you if it's AGCO oil just by the cleanliness of the parts in there and the amount of sludge that's not accumulated. Man, sometimes those parts look as fresh as the day they were new because of the high detergency. That's good to keep an engine clean, keep your soot in suspension. Now, there's other things, special additives that go into there, and even I don't know all the things. That's what the AGCO engineers are, and that's why they recommend using AGCO product. Or if you look at the back, it has to meet or exceed their testing numbers. Now, in engine oils, one of the things you're going to find out is right here on the front. There is an API rating. API is the American Petroleum Institute. That is, on engine oils, you'll see a C and an S rating. The C stands for diesel, S stands for gas engines. Today's current oils that required through AGCO is a CJ4. CJ4 is the latest spec. I4 was the previous rating. Basically had C8, then CB, then CD, then CE, F, G, H, I. The I4 came in with the Tier 4 engines. The CJ4 is the latest spec. Because our engines now don't have closed crankcase ventilation, we don't allow that gas and the fumes to escape the engine. They're vented back into the engine, and that oil has to hold those components in suspension like soot. So that's one of the things that's part of the CJ rating. If you really want to dig into oil, there's a really cool place that I've been following called the Petroleum Quality Institute, and they do independent testing on different oils. It's crazy some of the stuff that they have found about oils, like a brand new car picture on an oil, and the stuff ain't even like CC rating or something. I mean, it's like for 1942 cars is what the rating's capable for. They've even found that some manufacturers are making bottles that look like a quart, but they're not really a quart. I mean, there's some tricky marketing going on out there, and that's the thing. I know this oil works in your tractor and will do the job and take care of the needs of that tractor for the life of that tractor. I don't know about other brands. You're going to have to talk to them. The manufacturer, the company that has the oil, they're the experts for their product, and they're the ones that are going to have to assume the liability if you decide that you want to try somebody else's product that may be a wheel fit or might work in different vehicle applications. AGCO oil works in your tractor. I can say that with 100% confidence. If you need a 15W40 oil, that right there is 100% compatible, no questions asked. The great part is now warranty, one of the things that they require, if there's a lubrication failure, we are required to send in oil tests and have oil testing done. If that oil does not meet or exceed the manufacturer's minimum recommendation, they don't have to warranty that item. Because in the operator's manual it says that you must meet and use an oil that is compatible. There are some products out there that are not meeting or exceeding specifications. And there's some tricky marketing again. They have all these pretty fancy numbers on the back of the thing, but they're using old data. Once a number has been changed or upgraded, that number is no longer in existence. And there's a product, 303 oil. That spec went out like in 1974 or something. There's manufacturers that are still using that specification. It's a Deere specification for hydraulic fluids. Once they went to their new specification, that one's no longer good. And actually the state of Missouri and several other states like Georgia and North Carolina have stepped up and have put a stop to allowing companies to advertise this is a 303 oil, because 303, there is no such spec anymore. It's obsolete, it's gone. It was designed for old tractors. It's not a valid specification. It was misleading marketing. So now what you need to do is look in your operator's manual, and it's going to tell you under the specification what the rating is. If it's an engine oil, the API rating is what you're going to be needing to follow. CJ4, typically all our modern engines, that's going to be the oil that's going to be required. And that is an American Petroleum Institute. That is an independent company that tests the oil to make sure. It takes about 150,000, I think, is the last I heard, to get a oil tested to meet those ratings. So companies kind of don't want to spend excess money until it's necessary. And there is a new set of ratings coming out for car engines for some of the new requirements that engine manufacturers require. The engine manufacturer is the one that is going to tell you what oil is in that. AGCO has their own engine company, so they know that engine, they know what they want in it. Now some of the other things that you want to look at, and if you visit AGCO's website, under the AGCOpartsandservice.com, there is catalogs. You can actually pull up our lubricant catalog. This is all the different products we have. We've got multitudes of different products. We've actually got full synthetic oils in the We've got semi-synthetics. We've got straight weights. We've got multi-viscosity oils. Multi-viscosity oils is probably what we recommend. A straight weight oil, one of the problems of it doesn't change with the changing temperatures. A multi-viscosity oil will never get thinner, like a 1540 will never get thinner than 15 weight, and it'll never get thicker than a 40 weight. How that can happen is that oil warms, it has thickeners in it, and it keeps it from getting too thin, so it allows those, as that temperature causes those things to expand so it doesn't thin out, to maintain the proper weight to give you proper protection throughout the life of that engine, and the different, from cold startup to normal maintenance or normal operating temperatures when you're out in the field. So check out the catalog. There is some specifications down there. They will give you the features, advantages, and benefits. It will also tell you what that oil meets or exceeds. We're also going to get into talking about hydraulic fluids. Now there's different grade weights. Best thing to do is consult your operator's manual. If it tells you to use a 5W30 for different temperature range, it's going to tell you 1030 for other temperature ranges and 1540s. That is what you need to do, is look at the climate that you're dealing with and what type of oil AGCO recommends to be used in your tractor or your engine. For example, there's a hydraulic fluid. You can see it's a thinner weight oil versus there's a 15W40. It doesn't flow as much. Here's an 8090. Look at how slow that is. We've got 5W30. 5W30 is going to be a little more flowable than 15W40. And you can come into Vahrenberg Implement. We've got these units here. There's 85-140. Man, if we put that outside today, that sucker's going to be really thick. Don't ever change from the recommended type of oil. If it says use 80-90, use 80-90. They know what needs for protection in that engine. There's other items built into oil, like one of them is the ability for cohesion. When you shut that key off, the oil needs to be retained in a layer on components. For example, engine bearings. You don't want a dry metal to metal startup, or you will have scoring and premature engine wear. You need a good, nice layer, so when you start that tractor, it's got lubrication until the oil starts pumping and can pump to that engine. There is a wide variety of things that are built into these oils to provide you maximum protection and to help you get the maximum life out of your engine and your hydraulic systems and your powertrains and your differentials and your rear ends and all that stuff. That's why we got all kinds of different oils here. Now, let's get into hydraulic fluids. That is one of the most interesting things out there. People say, I care about my engine, but that hydraulics, it don't need that much stuff. Then why is it hydraulic fluids cost more than engine oils? I know why. Because the original hydraulic fluid was an engine oil and you poured a little bottle of additive in, because it has specialized components. I mean, we've got tractors nowadays that've got power steering, power brakes. Look at the hydraulic stuff we do with it, with tractors. We got transmissions that are very tight tolerances and need special additives in there to take care of those components. It's like the 821XL product from AGCO. The Permatran 821XL, the 821XL was actually an old Alice Chalmers style hydraulic fluid. Permatran was what Massey Ferguson had. What they did was, and Type 55 was an old Oliver White Farm Equipment specification. Actually, all three of those needs have been blended into one oil. The additives that were in that oil were not necessary for another brand, but it didn't hurt that other brand. Actually, maybe improved it a little bit. But they've made a single product that is capable to work through the wide family of brands of AGCO Corporation. We've got the Oliver Heritage, Minneapolis Moline, Alice Chalmers, Deutz Alice, Cockshut, White Farm Equipment, AGCO Alice, AGCO brand, Massey Ferguson, Massey Harris. That's all covered with a single product for hydraulic transmissions called 821. Permatran 821XL is the hydraulic oil that's going to fit most of those applications. Now, one exception. We got the world's greatest transmission in the world. We've got the world's greatest oil to protect that transmission. The AGCO Dyna VT, the CVT transmission that Fendt developed, that's available in your Massey Ferguson is the Dyna VT, requires the Permatran 821 Plus, XL Plus. Why? Because it's special. That's a special transmission and it needs special protection, so you get the maximum life out of it. So your tractor's not like other brands and in the big shop getting worked on. 821XL is a longer change interval, lasts longer, does more, protects more, and takes care of that. So CVT owners, you need the 821XL Plus. It's designated by a green label. You notice gold label. You notice reds are our engine oils, grays are our gear lubes. We've got different colors to make sure you put the right oil in your tractor. So if you're needing red oils, that's going to be engine oils. Gold colored oil, that's going to be your hydraulic transmission fluids. And if it's gold with the green, that's your special oil for the CVT. Now there's different testings and different products within those tests that separate the oils. Viscosity tests are one of them. Cold and warm flowability test. Viscosity test is how that oil flows. You take a 1540 out there when it's cold, you live up north in Canada, that's probably too thick of oil. You probably need to get into your 5W30s. Some tractors will even allow you to go to zero weight, but cold weather oil. Now we're in Missouri, we don't see that cold weather a lot, but AGCO actually has a product, a cold weather 821XL. So if you're in that area, consult with your AGCO dealer and there is a special cold weather formula for use when the temperatures are super cold. Optimum range is from 45 below zero, which I hope I never see that, to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Those are both Fahrenheit temperatures. So it's a more of a 5W20 based oil in that low temperature product, where the Permatran XL, the Permatran 821XL Plus is going to be more based off of a 15W40 base oil. Don't use 15W40 in there because it doesn't have the additives to protect those vital components in there. Where you're looking at the 821XL is starts off with a 10W30 base oil with those special additives for those hydraulic transmission components. That's all available in this specified to protect. Now one of the things, and it's the most awesome marketing statement ever, we don't meet the specs, we are the specs. That's a bold statement. We're not out here telling you that this is going to meet what your AGCO products need. We are the specifications that's in that book that says that's required to meet. Like 821XL is, I think it's on my sign here. This is a cool poster too that shows hydraulic pump protection and superior resistance to buildup that the 821XL spec is. I think it's M1145 if I remember right. To be a viable fluid in a Massey Ferguson, it needs to meet M1145 AGCO specification. That is what 821XL does for you. M1145 specification is this oil. It's what AGCO engineers designed to work in your tractor. When you change to a different type of oil, you start assuming the risk, or you better hope that you got a good oil supplier, because if you have a failure based because of oil problems, they're the ones that should be liable. You transferred the liability from AGCO to that oil supplier because you decided to take a risk and change to a different type of oil. There's also products like ISO oils. ISO oils are straight hydraulic fluids. Straight hydraulic fluids should not be used in modern tractors. Some of the, I think, Terragator, Rogator stuff, some of the pump drives use straight weight oils, and there's different viscosities of those, like an ISO 46, a 32, here's a 40, a 68, here's an ISO 100. They're different weights, and we don't deal with that in the Massey Ferguson line, but AGCO offers those oils if you need those too. We also offer products like the automatic transmission fluid, Dextron, Mercon, Power Fluid 411 is an automatic transmission fluid. We've used that in some of the hydrostats in combines. Some of the old tractors use that. One of the differences is a hydraulic transmission fluid is a petroleum-based product, where this is a mineral-based product. That is one of the differences between automatic transmission fluids and hydraulic oils. We get into our 80-90 gear oils. We don't use them a whole lot. Usually it used to be older tractors a lot of times in the transmission rear ends used an 80-90 oil, like our old Olivers, some of the white tractors use that. We've actually got two products for Massey Ferguson. There is a mineral-based oil and a petroleum-based oil. This is the petroleum-based oil. 710, which is M1103 oil, is a mineral-based oil. This is a gear oil for those older Massey and Ferguson tractors. This is the mineral-based oil. This is the petroleum-based oil. So you can see, man, our counter is getting full with different types of oil, and we don't even have everything that AGCO offers. So we've got some full synthetics. We're using those in our disc headers and that type of stuff, and some of the self-propelled windrowers. There's lots of differences in oil, and the big thing is comparing the specifications. Before you change oils, consult with your AGCO dealer, bring us the specs and let us look at them. We have been trained by AGCO Parts through meetings with the product, the companies that build and produce and blend these oils for AGCO. They have taught us how to look at specifications and make sure you're getting a good, complete oil. Just because it's high in one spec doesn't mean it's a great oil. Just because it's got a fancy name or does a lot of advertising on TV, it's going to be the best oil out there. I know the AGCO products meets the specifications that what your equipment needs. Before you make a change, make sure you please bring them in so we can take a look at it, because the last thing we want to do is you to have an expensive repair bill because you sacrifice the longevity of your equipment for a cheaper oil. One thing when we get into petroleum versus synthetics or semi-synthetic products, doesn't matter if it's petroleum based or semi-synthetics or full synthetics, do not ever extend the oil change interval than what is in the operator's manual. So if you're using full synthetics, you still have that same operating hours between oil changes. Diesel ag engines have different specifications, and synthetic oils are not going to increase the oil change intervals. You still need to change at the exact same thing. If it's 400 hours, a petroleum-based engine oil is going to do the same quality job as that synthetic product is going to do. Synthetic is basically a chemical blended oil, where this is petroleum-based, refined out of a barrel of oil. A lot of times synthetics can even be petroleum products to create that. It's interesting when you start getting on the internet and you look at some of the things, like Wikipedia talks about synthetics, and synthetics can actually be petroleum. Didn't you know that? Could be the exact same thing, maybe. It's a buzzword in the industry. This oil is clean and is approved as a full synthetic. There are benefits in some places of synthetic oils, like our semi-synthetic product. Some of those, they have enhancements to reduce thermal breakdown, high heats, high pressures, that type of stuff. So use what the easiest thing to do is use what the manufacturer recommends. I mean, it is not required. It just makes it simple. And I believe in AGCO's product 153%, maybe even more than that. Why? Because I know it works. We have very few engine failures in our product family, especially people that are using AGCO lubricants. We can see the difference in our shop. So to kind of wrap this up, we're just going to do this in a single segment. We may get into talking about more about oils here later. AGCO Parts has a wide variety of products to meet your needs. From engine oils to transmission fluids to gear lubes, we've got the whole array of products to take care of that machine. We've got them from quarts to gallons to 2.5s to 5s to 30s to 55-gallon drums. The larger the volume, the cheaper your oil. So if you know you're going to use oil, you might want to take a look at the cost breakdown in gallons per oil. We've already got that figured out, and we've got it posted on the wall at our oil display in our showroom. Here's our pricing chart, and you can see as you increase the volume of product, for example, like this is engine oils, you can see the cost savings. It's over $6 a gallon here when you're buying in a 55-gallon drum than in a quart. And same thing with your Permatran XL hydraulic transmission fluid. You save a lot of money the larger the volume. You make a pretty good jump once you go from 5 gallons into a 30-gallon drum. We've also got a lot of great products like from AGCO Parts. One of them, for you that use quarts and gallons, AGCO has a new pour spout that allows you to pour that oil simpler and easier. It'll fit a gallon jug, and it'll also fit on the quarts here. And I'm going to have to destroy that seal, so I'm not going to do that. But it will fit. The inner here is threaded, and the outer to fit either quarts or gallons. Cap funnels. One of the things that is very important is the cleanliness of the oil. We have a variety of cap funnels. The nice part of a cap funnel, we've got small ones, we've got medium holes, we've got larger holes. We even got what we call our essentials. Those that are new to tractors, we've got a lot of different essential packages. Like this gets you started with a quart of engine oil and a quart of hydraulic fluid and a cap funnel, all in one simple purchase from us. We've got hitch pins and different things. When you're new to tractors, there's a lot of different maintenance products you're probably going to need, or items to help you do more jobs with that new tractor that you got. But a cap funnel, one of the great things of it is you have a cap on the output end, and you have another cap on the input end. So you put your oil in, you pour your oil in, and what happens? You throw the funnel in the cab, you throw it in the back of the truck, and the residual oil leaks out all over the place and makes a mess of your wherever you put the funnel. The other thing is, what likes to attract itself to oil? Dirt. You got an open funnel, you're going to get dirt in here, you're not going to get it all perfectly cleaned out. Use your cap funnel, put your oil in, you can screw the cap on this side, leave it in your hole, let it drain out. When most of the product drains out, you can flip it up and put the bottom cap on and your funnel stays clean. The inside of your funnel is going to stay perfectly clean. Those are available from AGCO parts in a variety of sizes. Got the blue one with the smaller tip, you got the orange ones. Man, these work good for lawn and garden, subcompacts, that stuff where you got a little small spout to pour it in. Put it in there, you got a big opening. Got caps on both ends to keep that oil, keep that nice and clean inside. Those are some things to help make it easier to do your own maintenance. If you're not comfortable with doing your own maintenance, we have a full service shop, fully trained mechanics that will do the service for you. Bring it in, we can do it. We use the same product in here that we recommend selling over the counter. We take it right out of the parts counter and put it right in your equipment. It's not done in big volumes. Two things. We can measure the amount of oil easier. The other thing is the cleanliness of the product. Barrels of oil in a shop can get nasty as you go through it. So we're trying to help increase the longevity of the engine in our shop just as much as in your shop. So we appreciate you taking the time out today to take a look and learn about AGCO's oil and oil products. We're not sitting here feeding you a line of BS about this stuff. We believe in it. We know it works. We want to see you get the most out of your equipment. A lot of times AGCO products are not the highest prices in the world. We actually did a comparison and it was actually cheaper to use AGCO's lubricants than it was some of the competitive brands purchased at a local farm and home. The cheapest oil that they sold, it was like $80 difference for the warranty period for the oil change. Is that worth sacrificing your warranty over a product that may not be 100% compatible or approved, or who knows what it's doing inside of that component? We're here to help you. We want to be your partner for a long time. We're not in the business to take your money. Sometimes it seems like we do, but we are more concerned about the longevity of that product so it's longer lasting, reliable, and you get the most out of your investment. We would rather see you buy added accessories and attachments because you enjoy your product than waste money on a premature failure. The best thing that can happen is my mechanics become pre-delivery inspectors and setup guys than actually mechanics, and we see that with the quality of our product that we have nowadays. We work on new stuff very, very little. Why? Because we try to help our customers get the most out of it, use the best product. We believe in this product so much that every subcompact through 2700 series, our small utility class tractors, we give the first started off right maintenance package. It's got oil and filters for your 50-hour service to get you started in using the right product, the correct product from the start. Thank you for tuning in to another product informational series video. I hope you learned a lot about oils and the differences in oils. And it's a very interesting topic, and we're going to break down some more of the intrigue of oils and the oil products. And some of the testing, there are some very interesting testing results, and it's interesting because how do you know if a low number is good or a high number is good? You see the numbers, but do you know what those numbers mean and if it's good or bad? Some numbers, some tests, the higher the number the better. Some tests, the lower the number the better. And some of them it has to be within a range. Low is not good, high is not good. It's got to be within a range. We're going to help in future episodes of our videos explain some of those tests, show some of those test results, and show some of the comparisons to help you learn how to get the most and protect your equipment the most with products from AGCO parts. Thank you, and tune in next time.